Let's also hear from you, our viewers out there. Where do you stand on this debate, Unai Emery and Arteta? Which one is better? And beyond that, regardless of what, if the two managers are kept side by side now.
Let me tell you something. Let's forget about UEFA Cup, Villarreal, PSG. Let's talk about Arsenal. Bring Arteta's 2 years, his first 2 years in Arsenal.
Mm-hmm. Let me bring guys. Emery. It's going to be an interesting game, obviously, because even watching these two teams over the summer. Transit TV, welcome back again to the studios. Welcome back to this one, our Looking Ahead series. Preview of major featured games on EPL or anywhere around Europe on this studio. And this week, we are looking at no other game than Aston Villa hosting Arsenal. You remember Aston Villa did a double on Arsenal last season, winning them home and away. The only team to do that last season to Arsenal. And if you go back in history between these two clubs, Arsenal has always had the upper hand. But Unai Emery joining Aston Villa 2022, I think he was appointed October 24th, and he resumed proceedings at November 22nd of that year, November 2022. And since then, Aston Villa has been going from strength to strength. Arsenal that year did the double on Aston Villa, which Unai Emery returned the favor last season on Arteta and Arsenal, which did not, many still believe Aston Villa was the reason why Arsenal did not manage to win the league last season. And of course, Arteta, that we know, has proven or shown to be a vintage coach. He doesn't take things like this lightly. Who be very poised to get back on Unai and Aston Villa on this one. And to look at it today, I have Ubum, and Nimi is making a comeback after a long vacation this summer, doing the sports daddy things and taking vacation. And of course, it's going to be a heated and interesting one today on the studio. Guys, you are welcome to the show.
Thank you, Reggie. It's a pleasure. Good to see my brother Nimi. Good to be back on Transit TV.
Oh man, it's a pleasure, Reggie. You know, it's good for the fans too. The players go on vacation. It's good we go on vacation too, to go refresh and to come back to give you, those as it is, really good. Thank you very much, Reggie.
And again, coupled with the fact that there's only nothing much interesting happening with Chelsea, I'm sure it was also good for you to take a break and get back to business. Yeah, Ugum, quickly, let me start with you on this one. Seriously poised. Arteta, like I said, is a vintage coach. He doesn't take lightly. He likes to get his revenge or get one over people when they do it, both players, managers, clubs. And it's widely believed that Aston Villa denied Arsenal the chance to win the league for the first time in 20 years last season. How do you see this one shaping up?
Yeah, I would agree. Aston Villa was one of the major reasons why Arsenal did not win the league last season, because they did a double over Arsenal. With those 6 points lost to them, Arsenal would have won the league. It's as simple as that. So that means that a marker has been laid. And like you said, Arteta is that kind of manager. He's going to prepare his team to try and get over, that seeming jinx or whatever it is that Unai has and his team have built so far. Aston Villa are a difficult side. If you watch them against some teams, you feel like you can beat them. You can beat them. A team like Arsenal can beat them handily. But when you actually meet them, you see certain patterns develop. One being one of the narratives there is Emi Martinez being an ex-Arsenal goalkeeper and living under the circumstances that he left, and continuing to thrive and grow and grow and grow since he left Arsenal. So he's going to be a factor in this game. He just signed a new contract with Aston Villa. He's been an amazing purchase and goalkeeper for them. And I hear today that Aston Villa are in the conversation for Raheem Sterling, which is going to be another factor that will help them. Perhaps not in this game against Arsenal, but ultimately he will strengthen their side, playing with John McGinn on the left. So it's going to be a strong game. It's going to be a solid game. It's going to be a very competitive game. Both teams are poised. Both teams have started the season very well. Aston Villa have strengthened in the middle with Onana. Watkins hasn't gotten quite up to speed yet. I would say hadn't in the first game. Let's see how he looks playing against Arsenal. He's a player that always somehow gets a goal against Arsenal. I'm hoping all those jinxes, all those mates will be put to rest when they meet tomorrow. It's going to be in 2 days. It's going to be quite an epic game. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, let me stop on your side. Like I said, this one is seriously and evenly poised. It has all the ingredients to have both pre-game, in-game, post-game. In fact, there's a lot of, we're going to get into that as well. There's a lot of argument already out there on social media about Emery and Arteta. Looking at these two teams, Emery has come into this team somehow, a team that Gerrard struggled to pick up wins with, and have made Aston Villa a team to be feared in EPL right now. And I think last season they also had won over Man City. One of the legs they won their game against Man City, and Unai Emery has a very decent record as Aston Villa coach. He has played 115 games, won 68, drew 25 and lost 29. Has a 70% winning ratio, which is not bad by any means, considering the fact that before he joined Aston Villa, decent team, yes, but people don't really need to take them that seriously. Now, you don't go play against Aston Villa and think you can just go and run over like we rightly mentioned. I don't know how do you see this one, shaping up or panning out?
This is going to be a big game. It's going to be a very, very big game. It's going to be a game that's going to be won, I think, in the midfield. I think with so Emery plays almost a similar pattern as Arteta, a three-man midfield. Now we're seeing Onana, Tillemans as the two holding mids, and you got Rogers, you got McGinn on the left, Bailey on the right, Oli Watkins, you got a Pau Torres, Konsa, Cash, Digne. And now, with this team, you are seeing, Emery has had 2 to 3 transfer windows to bring his own players now. Now you could see Aston Villa play. The way they grind, they went to West Ham and grind, had to grind that result. It was a show of a good tactically drilled team. Mm-hmm. And going to Arsenal, we watched them play Wolves. Really interesting match. At first, I thought they were laboring. But I think it's the season is just starting. I'm seeing a bright season for Bukayo Saka. So it's going to be a poised game. I see that game going, up and down. And, mind you, these two teams are in the Champions League. So it's going to be a heavyweight clash. I'm just looking at the game. If you'd ask me in terms, as I told you, it's going to be one in the midfield. I think from Arsenal's point of view, my only scare for Arsenal will be that attack, with Kai Havertz leading that attack. Is it going to be as labored as it was, although he scored in the first game against Wolves? Or is it going to be, the quick, pacey footballers they had towards the end of that Wolves game? We would have to see. But if I was a betting man, that game will end in a draw for me personally.
Yeah, Bemsy, on Arteta's side, 4.5 years into his project, 233 games, won 138, drew 38, and lost 57, has about 84% winning ratio on, this is on EPL, not all games. like let me mention right there, is these are two teams that are on the rise. These two managers have taken these two teams from where they met them, and all of a sudden, after some, like Lini mentioned, some transfers and tactical infusions, have taken these teams, way up. It is only looking up for these two teams. And on Arteta's side, I don't know, what do you think? How do you see this one panning out? How is this shaping up on your own side?
I don't know. It's going to be a very interesting game to watch. It's going to be a nice game to watch because both managers play a very good, attractive style of football. So it's going to be entertaining to the eye. That's for sure. It's going to be competitive because basically, I mean, you're talking about the second best team in England last season going against the fourth best team. And Unai Emery did improve made some improvements in the squad in midfield with Onana coming in, which already made an impact last game already. And basically Arsenal continue where they left off. So yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be where is this game going to be played? It's gonna be at Arsenal. So I mean, I expect it to be a close scoring game. I expect it to be a close scoring game. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being a draw. But man, I would say, I mean, from what I saw from both teams, I mean, it's either to be a draw or maybe Arsenal might just sneak the win. They might just sneak the win.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. It's going to be an interesting game, obviously, because even watching these two teams over the summer, they're not in any way looking backwards. They're improving both in performance and additions to the squad. Like I said earlier in the beginning of the games, we were not here. Arteta is a vintage coach. He always tries to get back at you, whether as a player, as a manager, or as a team. Once you have it on him, he tries to paste it back as quickly as he can. So it's really going to be at the back of his mind. But Aston Villa denied Arsenal, as many believe, the chance to win the league for the first time in 20 years last season. So he's really going to drill this into the boys. And like you mentioned, for me, I think it might end up being a goal feast game because these two teams, like you said, play attractive football. Once anyone scores, that person is going to go at it again. So you might end up having a 3-4 goal thriller. I don't know if it's going to be 2-2 draw or 3-3 draw, but there's going to be goals in this game for betting men out there. These two teams play. Watkins runs in behind. Onana, had a goal last week on his debut, and he's going to try to push more. So it's going to really be some kind of a big drag. But Dempsey just mentioning it there, it's going to be a draw, but if anybody is going to win this game, he believes it's going to be Arsenal. And I'm sure he has his reasons because of the way the two teams have been playing the last two seasons, and Arteta, the way the team and the quality that these two teams have. And Arteta is ahead of Emery in his project. But out there is this talk. Emery, we know, Mr. Europa League, won it, I think, 4 or 5 times in Spain. Being in Spain, moved to PSG because of the resources that they have in PSG. People believe that he had no choice than to win the Ligue 1 over there. Then came to Arsenal. It didn't work for him. A lot of Arsenal fans were not patient, and somehow he was sacked. He went away to Spain, came back to Aston Villa now, and there's this argument out there that he's a better coach than Arteta. I don't know where you stand on this one.
He's a brilliant coach. I like him personally. I rate him very highly personally. As far as personal preference is concerned, I'll take Arteta. I'll take Arteta for personal reasons including his general outlook as a manager and the way that he handles himself, the way that he handles his squad, his tactical ability and all that. Now, if we are going by records, going by history, definitely Unai Emery is way ahead. He's won trophies, and he's had a record of winning trophies, both from when he was, I believe, Sevilla, going on to PSG and the rest of them. So his ability as a coach, his talent as a coach is not in doubt. Funny enough, both him and Lopetegui and Xabi Alonso and Arteta all come from the same,
small city,
almost the same town in the Basque region, yeah, of Spain. So you can see that region must have, there must be something in the water there as far as coaching is concerned. So yes, I wouldn't. I don't. I've avoided getting into the debate of who is a better coach.
Yeah.
Personally, my personal preference is Arteta, because I just like the way he works and I like what he represents. But I would not, throw my face away or sniff at Unai Emery as a coach. I think he's a brilliant manager, and I rate him quite high.
Yeah, Bemsy, so Arteta on this side, Emery here, who would you pick to coach Man U if you had to make that call today, and why?
I mean, this is easy call, man. Unai, man. Unai. It's I mean, trust me, Arteta does play a good brand of football, but my question is, can he win trophies? He's not shown me that he can really win trophies with his new team, with the way he's playing. He's not really shown me that. Unai, on the other hand, has shown me that he could do it. He's done it multiple times, win the Europa League multiple times. He's done it. So, if you ask me, yeah, of course. I mean, it's a no-brainer, man. I mean, I can understand Arsenal fans picking Arteta because you're Arsenal fans. You like your manager. That's pretty clear. But yeah, looking at football from both from the performance side, tactical side, winning trophy side, which is one of the reasons why I love football. I like to win trophies. Unai Emery, man.
Yeah, but for me, this is not an Arsenal thing. If you really look at it based on what you said, I'll pick Arteta. The reason why, because you can say that Emery won trophies. When he was in Sevilla, he was not under pressure to win the league in Spain. So he had all the time in the world to put all his effort on Europa, which in no shape was an easy feat, of course. But I mean, once he can come seventh and win the Europa, nobody will snip. But in EPL or in Arsenal, people wanted to be on top four and still win a trophy. He went to PSG, talking about winning trophies. There's no other way than to win that league, and still. We know how he left PSG. It wasn't an easy ride for him. He couldn't deliver. He came to Arsenal, another big club where you have pressure to win major trophies. It's not that about winning Europa. You have to do well in the league. He couldn't manage to do that. He went to the finals of Europa and lost 4-0 to Chelsea. So if you talk about winning trophies, I don't think that's is that a straightforward call like you made it to look to pick Emery. I respect him. I love him as a coach. I love what he has achieved. But it looks like, as you mentioned, when the atmosphere is more tense, there's more competition, there's more pressure. It looks like he doesn't really know how to navigate hierarchies and handle players and stuff like that. Though it's looking better for him now in Aston Villa. So I don't think it's an easy call to make to say, hey, if you keep Emery today, keep Arteta, I'll choose Emery. If you look at it very well, considering where Arteta met Arsenal, Aston Villa probably we are even stronger when Emery took over from them than what Arsenal was when Arteta took over Arsenal. You remember that Steven Gerrard had already spent money on that team, bought a lot of players, but couldn't just use them. So Emery met a better, let's say, quality players on his team than what Arteta met on Arsenal when he came. And people say Arteta has 4.5 years on his project. I always believe it's just 2.5 years, because the first 2 years he was just trying to clear out players and all those players that left Arsenal at that time. I can't see any of them. I can't even remember hearing any of them playing any, apart from Kolasinac that played in Europa finals last season. So I don't think it's an easy call. I don't think it's a straightforward call like that to make. I respect Emery, but Arteta has really done base too. And for him, his first managerial job, stand toe-to-toe with Pep Guardiola in the last 2 seasons, and ahead of Emery, who has been there for maybe a decade or more on this job, blew away club from Liverpool, a very massive club, massive manager, and 2 seasons running now, standing toe to toe to Pep Guardiola. I don't think he can just make that call easily and say that you will go ahead and pick Emery ahead of Arteta. Nimi, let me bring you in right quick. This one, I know these are two managers who are doing very well. Like I said earlier on, that moved their teams from where they found them, and they are now big topic for discussion in EPL and in Europe as it may be. So if you have Emery today and you have Arteta, that's a debate that's out there. We'll have to talk about it. I don't know what will your preference be and why.
I don't think it's even, to the neutrals out there, I don't even think it's even a debate as to, what the preference will be. It's quite easy. It's going to be Emery. The man has proven himself all the way from Sevilla, winning UEFA Cups. He's a winning coach. He's had years, almost 15, 20 years on the saddle of being a coach. You can't compare him with Arteta, that's about 4 or 5 years into his reign. Arteta's first job is Arsenal. He's done a wonderful job. But you can't take away the job Emery did at Villarreal, then Sevilla, then he went to PSG. He laid the groundwork for Tuchel to take them to the Champions League final. He came to Arsenal, and when he came to Arsenal, many people will say he laid the groundwork for Arteta. And if you had given him more years and more investments like you gave Arteta, it would have been a different ball game. But let's look at it. Let's forget about that. Or let's look at the present right now. Aston Villa was a team without identity with Gerrard. He came in and he pushed those guys. He pelted them. And today, with the budget that they had, the investments that they made, compared with Arsenal, what Arteta did, it's light and day and what they have been able to achieve. Let's not forget, this man, came in when Aston Villa was at the 17th position in a league where they were going on comatose, and he took them out to the, I think, top 6, top 7. That's a big, in his first season, that's a big achievement. And to take, and remember, they're not buying players for 50, 60 million. He's buying quality players that are cheap. And today he has transformed. Today we talk about Oli Watkins. Who was that transformative figure? It was Emery. You go back, ask Emery. Oli Watkins will tell you his style of play. Look at McGuinness, the captain, the way he has transformed this game to where he's now, the kind of player that he is, Konsa, all these guys. So I don't think it's even a debate. I don't want us to be sentimental. I had Osborne, it's been a long time since we spoke. I thought, going on vacation will reformat the way Osborne, thinks about some things that are Arsenal and non-Arsenal, but I think we're going to have a long year ahead of us. But, I don't think it's even there for debate right now.
Uguma, are you going to change your mind? Do you have anything to add on this one?
Yeah, I was just gonna let this slide as a normal conversation, but I think Nimi is poking me. He's poking me seriously. Well, okay, I'll let it slide. I'll wait for you, Nimi. I'll meet you where you want to be met. But having listened to what Nimi said, it's just typical gutter Chelsea analysis. When Chelsea fans talk, most of them, they don't. You can see why they support Chelsea. You can see why they support Chelsea. It's hard to really reason with a Chelsea fan because of the way they think.
No.
I've said my reasons for Arteta, and I'm saying that with all the trophies Unai has won, no dispute about that. Giving me the if I were the manager or whatever director of Arsenal, I would still take, or if I were the director of any other club, even if it's United, even if it's Chelsea, and I'm making that call, I will take Arteta. There are reasons for me taking Arteta. I'm not disputing the fact that Unai has won trophies, and I'm not also disputing the fact that he's a solid coach. But this same Unai was in charge of Arsenal at some point and was leading Arsenal into nowhere. Leading this same Arsenal that Arteta came and transformed, Unai was there. And please, I don't want to hear the argument of him not being backed. He was backed. He was backed. Pepe was bought for something million from him. Yeah, he was backed. He was leading the team to nowhere. Right? Sorry, Bemsy, you said something. I'm trying to read
he said Emery all day.
So the point I'm making is that every coach has the way they work, and
everybody has their preference too, or who they like to support. Yeah,
and every fan has their preference. What I do not subscribe to, and I totally disagree with and oppose is saying that a fan is being sentimental because they're Arsenal fan. Right? I can say you're being sentimental because you support whoever you support. Yeah, it waters down the argument. It makes the person that's talking seem childish. If you assign everything the person is saying to sentimentality, right? I'm a reasonable man. I follow football for a long time. I watch football for a long time. And I know what I like. I know what I don't like. If I say I prefer Arteta, even without his no trophy so far, to Unai, yeah, you gotta give me the don't call me sentimental because I've made a choice. Yeah, you might as well describe yourself as sentimental because you are making a choice based on sentiments or based on whatever. Right? So each of us has. Let me not go on and on. Each of us has the way we see football. And you give someone a chance to make a decision based on what they see. So, I thought up to me all the way today, tomorrow, and even the day after.
Man. Reggie, please let me just say something real quick. This is what there's a skill when you see skate in Nigeria. It's not be juju bitis. This is juju. How can Osborne is not even addressing facts? He's attacking me just like a typical Nigerian politician you see on a Rise TV or Channels TV when they have no points. The facts are, if this is not a cult group that Osborne has decided to join, the Red Barrett Karen Arsenal cult group, when facts are staring you at the face, how can you're talking to a coach that took Villarreal to Champions League participation. You're talking about a coach that took Sevilla to over 3 UEFA Cup winning. He's called Mr. UEFA Cup. You're talking to a coach that won PSG, took them to go win the league. You're talking about a coach, you gave him 2 years at Arsenal. How many years did you give Arteta? Arteta's first year, let me remind you, where did he finish at? These first 2 seasons. He finished, I think, 8 and 8. Arteta did Emery did better than that. So in Arteta's 2 years, he finished top 6. I mean, Emery's 2 years, he finished top 6. Arteta's 2 years, he finished 8 and 8. Not until the 3rd season before we saw leaps where they were able to qualify for the Champions League. Yeah. So when we say we can't be comparing oranges and apples, we got to be factual. We got to be.
Yeah, Mimi, what I want to remind you is, yes, Emery is called Mr. Europa. Like I said earlier on, he was coaching a team that he had no pressure to deliver in the league. So he had time to focus on the Europa League. And again, don't forget that every season he came to Champions League and always could not qualify that team to the next round. And that's why he ended up in Europa. So what I'm saying, then he went to France. Even you, Nimi, at the time Emery was in PSG, we win the league. It's just not that other things are coming up. So that's not rate because even the PSG was a disaster. You remember how he was sad because he couldn't do what when he mattered most in Europe. He couldn't deliver, and that's why they fired him. Then he came to Arsenal. So it's not, for me. I'm not saying Arteta is better. I prefer Arteta, but it's not that easy to say you pick Emery.
Reggie,
Okay, I am saying that personally to me, Arteta is better.
Yeah, it's not always about trophy, about winning trophy.
Deal with it. Deal with it. Whatever you want to do with it. To me, Arteta is a better guy.
No, guys. This is just
Bemsy, just 1 second, please. Just one. Okay, let's. As I said, this is a cult group, Osborne. You have to leave this cult group. Let me tell you something. Let's forget about UEFA Cup, Villarreal, PSG. Let's talk about Arsenal. Bring Arteta's 2 years, his first 2 years in Arsenal. Let me bring Emery's 2 years in Arsenal. Let us compare and contrast.
Okay, as Arteta's first 6 months, he won an FA Cup. No, he won an FA Cup. Okay, if you want to go there, the same thing that Unai Emery could not use, and in that FA Cup, hold on. Arteta didn't just have an easy run. He beat Liverpool, Chelsea, and Man City.
Let's hear from Bemsy.
So
it's also his usual nonsense analysis, and it doesn't make sense to me.
For me, this is banter. This is Bemsy. It's what you get from Bemsy, right? And on the other channel that I'm on, I'm called the controversial one for a reason. This is the way that sentimental this thing is just me banter. You expect that from me. But still, I still prefer Unai Emery, based on statistics, based on Arteta. Yeah. Okay.
And the thing is that honestly, people, as long as football is concerned, talking football, anybody that says that they're not sentimental, they're not emotional, then you're not a fan. The thing that makes you a fan of the club, because you have emotion towards
true, exactly.
And whenever you speak, somehow, even if it's 1% or 5% of what they're saying, it's going to be sentimentally based. So when people come and say somebody's emotional, I don't like to hear it.
Come on, Reggie, come on, facts are facts.
We are fans.
The best pundits out there, they still show sentimentalism when they talk.
I would have to take us, but we would have to go have a drink of coffee, my husband, just to